Okay, everyone. Second question that I will do. This is the raise stable question. This is another question about the factor market, and I'm just calling it the raise stable question. I think it was from the 2014 exam. But we know that raise stable is hiring workers in a perfectly competitive factor market. And we're using side-by-side graphing in this case. That's what the problem asks us to do. So we're doing both the market and the firm, and it's useful to actually label them separately. So we have the labor market. We might have the equilibrium wage here. This is going to be wage. That's the equilibrium here. And the quantity equilibrium there. And then we have, so this is the market, and this is the firm, this is raise stable, and we know that the firm is taking the wage, so WE is the same, and here's our MRP, okay, and this will be the quantity that Ray will hire. This is our MRC. And we have everything labeled. Technically, I guess this was supposed to be QR, and this is WR, so I'm just following the convention that the AP people are asking for. Is the marginal factor cost of unskilled labor for raise stable greater than, less than, or equal to the wage? And explain. So for part B, we know that the marginal factor cost is going to be equal to the wage, okay? And you can simply say because the firm is a wage taker, the reason the firm is a wage taker is because there's so much competition for this particular resource. So the firm doesn't have any control over the market to actually set the wage. So it is a wage taker. For C, now we assume that the government imposes an effective minimum wage, and effective minimum wage just suggests that it is going to be a binding minimum wage for unskilled labor. So we're going to show the minimum wage on the graph, and this might be something that first would get set in the market. Okay, so here's our new minimum wage. And this would be the wage minimum. And then, of course, the firm is going to be taking this new wage. So the MRC, or the minimum wage, is going to be, at the higher wage. On the labor market graph, show the quantity of unskilled labor supplied in the labor market as a result of the minimum wage labeled quantity supplied. So, in terms of on the labor market graph, I know I'm looking at this particular graph, what's the quantity of unskilled labor supplied? The quantity that's going to be supplied, okay, will be right here. Of course, the quantity that's actually going to be transacted, how many people will be hired, is going to be a lot less than that, because in this case, with the minimum wage, the quantity supplied is going to exceed the quantity demanded. But that's how we would label QS. And then as a result of the new minimum wage, will the marginal revenue product of the last worker hired by raise stable increase, decrease, or stay the same? And this is part C3. So the other two were on the graph. So, CI and 2I were on the graph. But for part C3I, this is one where a couple people had questions about this, or you might have missed it. If we look at the new place where the quantity of workers will be hired for raise stable, the profit maximizing quantity is now happening at not only the higher wage, because there's now a higher minimum wage, but the MRP of the last worker hired is also going to be greater than before, because the quantity has actually decreased. Okay, so this last one is that the MRP of the last worker hired should be increased based on the increase in the minimum wage. Okay, if you have any questions about any of these, let me know, and I will see you in class tomorrow. Any questions at all for the quiz, let me know. You can use materials for this quiz, so feel free to prepare, to have access to any of the materials that we used in class. Okay, thank you.